So I'm going to be asking you some questions. And the way we do it, welcome to our NextGen panel. And by the way, you're being watched live all over the world. So going to be asking you a question. Make yourself comfortable. We have about 50 minutes to do this. So whatever you want to share, people may have questions and I will quickly want to ask you. But basically, it's all about how to get ahead financially. Build houses. I love that. Marry wives, I love that. But me, I have one already, so I don't need to marry again. But I want to be able to make my wife comfortable so that she doesn't have to wake up to go to work. All those things are the reasons why we're, because that's what the church exists for. I was reading financial dominion is what came into my heart. How do we get these things? So before we go into it, just so also you know, the way I do my own interview style, I'm not going to be standing here. I'm going to be walking around, sitting all over, asking you questions from all over. Please don't feel out of place. You are the main focus here. So we will start by you just telling us, we've known a little bit about you, but maybe just kick it off for us. Let us know exactly in 2 minutes what it is that you do and how does that benefit us. Yeah, you have yours there and she has hers. So thank you.
Well, we both work at Investors Group as financial planners. And what we do is to help people to maximize their potential with all the resources that they have. I can take you back to, if we look at the parable of the talents. One person got 1 talent, the others got 3 and 5. So each person has their own level of resources. The issue is, what do you do with it? How do you manage it effectively? And that's where we come in as financial advisors, to help our clients to make the most of the resources that are available to them, and we build on what they have.
I'm so glad that you use the word financial advisors, because many people in this part of the world, or who are immigrants today, well, just so you know, to the glory of God, this church, we are represented, we have people from almost 20 different nations. So 20, and I believe that is worth celebrating rather than me just saying it, that I'm represented in this church. But people coming from some parts of the world, the word financial advice, getting a financial advisor is not is a foreign term. Can you expatiate if that is what you do? Talk to us about it.
Yes, I can. A financial advisor is technically a coach. And I'm glad you talked about bombers in the congregation. The bombers are able to perform well because they have coaches.
That's true.
And that's true for every sphere of life. So in your financial, with your finances, you need a coach as well, so that you can make the most of what you earn. So people earn a lot of money, and if they're not managing it effectively, you find out that they're paying so much in taxes. And what we do is not really to impose on you, but what you wish to do, what your goals are, we work with you to achieve them. So we're technically just coaches.
Okay. So coaches in the financial
realm.
Industry. Okay. So that means as a coach, that if I can go back to you, that means as a coach, you also will help coach me how to get more.
Yes.
Okay.
If I may add, go back to the issue of the talents. Now, God, by nature, blesses us with different talents. One of the problems in the world is that everybody uses money. So we think that we are naturally good at it. However, there are people who will help you get the best or more out of what you have. Remember, both the people who had the 3 and the 5 talents were rewarded the same for effective use of what they had, even though they had different amounts. So that's the nature of what we do as coaches. Wherever you are at, you can be comfortable. You can live the life of your wish, as long as you work with good people to be able to make the best of that talent or that resource that God has given you. And as financial advisors, we look beyond money, because the question is, what do you think your life is in general, or should be? Health. Wealth, of course, that's the value that the world gives to success, to life. But is that really all there is to success? So in our working with you, we are conscious of the peculiar nature of different aspects of your well-being that ultimately results in a good quality of life. So it may not necessarily be that you are able to multiply your investments alone. It may also be that you are able to manage other risks in your life in a way that when the difficult times come, because the Bible tells us that God does not say we won't face difficult times. He says that he will equip us. No challenge would you have that I will not have prepared you for. Now, at that point, that difference of a coach is significant, is important. And that's where the financial planner and advisor comes. We focus on planning because you've got to be able to have objectives and goals, and with the resources that you have, will help you see what you can do and how you can put things together to reach those goals.
I'm glad you said this, because one of the things that we people need to understand is that everyone has a blind spot in life. So you are the eyes in the area of finances to help navigate in the blind spot that people have. But I love the way you are talking about the parable of the talent, because I actually preached a message last month, unleashing your talents. Still have another one coming out of it, but I'm just so excited that we're tailoring this together. Talk to me about the ignorance, some of the ignorances you have been seeing, especially among those of us that speak in tongues, those of us that call ourselves Christians, but we would like to walk round the clock and still spend rather than save. Because if I can see from what you are talking about, you are going to come to me and tell me, Andrew, this is how you're supposed to use your money. What is your goal in life? You want to reach this place, so guess what? This is how you're supposed to use this money. This is how you're supposed to use this money. But then talk to me, because I know you have some good examples, because there must be a reason why you got into this industry of being a financial coach to people. Talk to me. Maybe if you do, it will help some of us here who are, somebody may be sitting here and say, you guys are wasting my time. I just came to hear Matthew chapter 6 verse 75. What does the Lord say? Talk to me so that people can relate to what you're talking about.
Well, thank you, Pastor. The point, as he has made, is that everyone does not have equal measure. But everyone has equal opportunity. God has created 24 hours. And the real opportunities are out there. It's important to be able to analyze where you are, create your goals, and go towards those goals. I'm sure in the preachings you have heard of the directives of God in Habakkuk about what visioning is. So that's the key thing. The first thing is what you do with what you have, with where you found yourself. And if you look at the generation of people who are able to progress, there are people who have not only seen or heard the word, but have appropriated parts of the word to support themselves. He said we should share. He told you that my wife is a dentist. When she was coming to Canada, she came, having done almost 30 years in dentistry. and her primary thought was to become a dentist here. You all know, and young professionals, most of you, you know what it is to get in here. And of course, at a stage in life, you determine what your goals are. So surprisingly, she looked at what we have been doing, because I started off as an engineer. I worked in Ajaokuta. I was one of the pioneer engineers in the Nigerian steel industry. And you know, they trained us well. I had international exposure and everything. And I came back there, and after 10 years, with all the politics, I saw that nothing was happening. What am I going to do with my life? How am I going to impact on this country that I am? When we came out here, a lot of my colleagues took the opportunity and went. I had admissions in universities abroad, postgraduate, but I didn't jump the boat. I went back to Nigeria. We were very patriotic. But then that's another story. However, what happened? I decided to shift. I thought I was entitled to pension or gratuity because I had served 10 years. I got a letter saying, sorry, your youth corps does not count, so you don't have any pension, you don't have any gratuity. We prayed about it. And I very gleefully wrote back to the corporation. I said, I am no longer here. Keep your pension, keep your gratuity. And went out with this faith. And don't play with your faith. God has empowered all of us. And I have virtually believed in it, that the power in you, what's in you, is more than what is in the world. As long as you are able to think properly, prayerfully, and take advantage. When I got out there, it wasn't easy, but nobody pays you a salary that is more than you can generate yourself. Never forget that. Now, I'm not saying everybody has to jump. Prayerfully, very strategically, thoughtfully, take that decision, but go there with faith. So an engineer, more than about 30 years ago, became a merchant banker in Nigeria. She stuck to her profession. We came here. I continued in the line that I was used to. Naturally, it wasn't the best opportunity because I could have traded in and done other things. She wanted to continue, and then there were challenges or difficulties. They were not challenges. I mean, we would always overcome. And she felt, look, I'm close. I should actually be retiring. What can I do to help people? And she and I are in a team. She is the consultant. I am her associate. Because the fire of this team is her.
Oh, I love that. By the way, if you're watching us via the internet, you have a question, please quickly send in your question. If you're here, you have a question for them. I'm going to be asking them to delve into a little bit of what they do. Please, I want you to write a question and just pass it to the ushers, or they will be passing some papers across to you, and then you write your questions, and then we'll quickly be able to take as many questions as possible. But since you are the fire horse, talk to me about your services, or why do I need to invest? Why do I need to save? Why do I need to plan financially? Just talk to me. I want to give you the liberty to say whatever it is that you say. I don't want to put you in a box and just say talk about this. But just talk to me about what you do specifically.
Well, one question that you just asked is why do you need to plan? And I will just say that it's so easy to think. Many people think that things of money are not biblical, but God's very clear about that. In Habakkuk, which is another passage that we usually share with people, he says, write down your vision. If you have no vision, you have no goal. That's a choice that you have made, to not have a goal. So you write down your vision. The Bible says, write down that vision and make it plain, that he who sees it may run with it. Now, when you have that vision written down, it's clear. If you see that you're going away from it, you can always either draw yourself back or have somebody draw you back. So that's one major aspect of it. So what we do as financial planners is help people to articulate their goals. And once you're able to articulate those goals, you can start working towards them. We encourage people to write down their goals. Then
Okay, can I stop you right now? I love this terminology, goals, plan, and everything. I want numbers. Give me numbers, because that will stimulate the thinking. Because there's a young man here who is hearing goals. He say, I don't know goals. But when you, especially if the young man is from Nigeria and he's of the tribe of Igbo, goals and plans doesn't really make sense. But when he start hearing, why are you turning back to look at me? Because you are Igbo. I'm not talking about you. I'm just talking about the young man. You're not the only Igbo here. Sylvester is Igbo. He didn't turn back. So let's say, instead of giving me goal, give me numbers. I need $1 million. Let's talk like that. How do I get there?
For as many people as are in this room, there's many different goals. So if I give you numbers, what works for you may not work for somebody else. What's my goal? I mean, all of us ultimately want to be able to work for a number of years, make some money, and then make ourselves comfortable. What does that word comfortable mean to you or to me? When do I want to retire? When do you want to retire? I thought that by the age of 55, I should have been retired. I'm not 55 anymore. I've gone beyond that. But then at the same time, I'm thinking, even if I was 70, do I want to stop working? Do I want to be engaged doing something? So what's the plan that each of you has? What do you have for yourself? What do you want your future to look like? And then when we look at that future, and that's why we talk about goals instead of calling money, then you can monetize that. Do you want, like most Canadians, to have a cottage at the lake? It costs
Now
money.
we are talking.
So you have to be able, that's a very personal thing for everybody. You have to determine, what do I want? How do I want my future to look like? Whatever I'm working for today, how do I want it to make a difference in my future? So I have to have that end goal in mind. Even if I look beyond myself, my children, my grandchildren, those who are coming after me, and then also people around us. I don't want to be comfortable all by myself. I want to be a blessing unto other people. So you have to be able to articulate all these things and say, how do I want my future to look like? What difference do I want to make in the world around me? Then we put numbers to it.
Okay. The non-number ways of fixing these goals she has mentioned, but let me try and give you ideas. For those who are yet to be married, you would probably, as a single person, be planning for yourself about how far in your career you want to go before you get married, what kind of a situation of life you want to be in by the time you get married. Do you want to make sure that for the man particularly, or for the woman, do you want to own a house, a home, or do you want to have a specific level of investment capital or some savings? Have you taken care of all the risks, present and future, that you are thinking about? How many years do I want to work? She mentioned, when I signed on to work in Nigeria in the steel industry, the GO then, what we call the general orders, said that at 55 I should be able to retire. And that was the goal. But within 10 years, I knew that if I stayed on there, with the way our economy was going, even if I had saved, it would have been rubbished by economic upheavals. In fact, I took my decision. So it's different here, but I tell you, in Nigeria, 3 different times of my life in working for close to 40 years, I felt at certain stages that I had worked enough to retire. but then the economy changed. So in Canada, you have a more stable economy, so savings makes sense. In Nigeria, you would not put your savings in cash. You would probably put it in assets, house, and so on and so forth. But here, things are different. Tax. How much of tax am I paying? Is there a way that I can save on taxes without dodging taxes? Because again, there are different ways you can use your resources, and each way has an implication for your tax. So we would help you with that. Having retired, what kind of life do you want to live? Do you want an active retirement life or a passive one? In which case, I don't want to think about money, but I want to be able to travel the world. That determines how much you must have before you retire. Or I don't want to think about money, but I also want to be active and be a blessing, which is how, for instance, Dr. Imolorhe determined that she would enjoy being an advisor. And that's a job she can do all her life. So these are the targets, objectives, and goals you can set. And from day one, all those goals are necessary. The only thing is that some of them will be more urgent than others. For instance, somebody who is starting off working life here has to start thinking of his retirement. But he's not yet married. He has not, built any capital. He has not made any investments. So when we talk with you, we will put retirement in mind. But everybody earns his income in the present. So why does the plan come in? Every time you are earning your paycheck, you are appropriating or separating it into different blocks, making provision even for the long term, but also ensuring that you are living well in the current term.
Thank you very much for sharing. Come on, let's appreciate them one more time. Let's appreciate them. Now to some specific. Please, ushers need to move around with papers just in case if you have questions. When I was reading a little bit about you yesterday, I think I saw somewhere about you advise people in insurance. Am I right? You advise in insurance.
Yes.
Talk to me, because there is something that I see, especially among those of us that speak in tongues, tongue talking. And when I use the word tongue talking, I'm talking because sometimes when you bring the issue of financial planning, or you bring the issue of investment, or you bring the issue of money, managing your money, stewardship, or things like that, a lot of us who are born again, who are faith people, see it as if you are not living by faith. Because living by faith means that I don't need to plan for tomorrow. Tomorrow will take care of itself. And that's foolishness, by the way. That's not faith. But talk to me about what is called life insurance, because I see a lot of us believe that, yes, I know that part of the scriptures, I shall not die, but I shall live to declare the glory of God. But what do I need to do to plan for life insurance? Because a lot of people feel that they don't need life insurance right now. But I don't know if that is part of the service you offer, but that's been a concern for me when I see a lot of people not wanting to go into those kinds of areas, because they feel that I'm not going to die. You're not going to die right now, but you die someday. 120 years at least, you are going to leave this place. How do we tackle issues like that, please?
Thank you, Pastor. You would notice that we didn't mention insurance or investments much and so on, because those are products, and they form very key parts of strategies towards affecting your plans. But he's mentioned a very important point. Insurance is in the Bible. We have a parable where we come from in different parts of Nigeria, that the world is like a market. You come at your ordained time and you leave at your ordained time. It is not first in, first out. And God says that his thoughts are not our thoughts, neither are our ways his ways. So nobody knows. Mortality is a reality. Every man is appointed unto death. So life insurance is key. Now, where most of us came from, immigrants, in Nigeria, because of the same thing we have mentioned, economic vagaries and volatility, it doesn't make much sense. But in a stable economy, that's a very important part of your financial plan. For two reasons. One is the fact that this economy is a credit economy. Now, credit means that most of your life, you are funding something or the other by credit. The most important investment the typical Canadian makes is his house. And imagine what it will take to buy a house. We all know how much houses are. But the good thing about the community is that you are able to pay in small lots. Now you have a family, you bought a house, and then you are the one paying. You are the only working person there, your children. And then you pass on. There's a credit on that house. What happens? If you don't have insurance, then your family can be without a house almost immediately after you pass on. The other thing is, we all have dreams. We all have dreams about children and grandchildren. All of us here, working or just starting to work, have dreams of children that will go beyond where we are. So if you have a university degree, you want your child to have a PhD. If you are an accountant, you at least want the child to be an accountant, or even more. Everybody wants a doctor in the family. You have that plan. But unfortunately, something happens down the line. You pass on. The state takes care of that child until 18, which is very good. High school. What happens to school after that? If the child is not able to finance his or herself, that's done. But if you are taking insurance and you are provided for that, that will take care of that. So, please, yes, we shall live. We shall not die. That's as determined by God. We are talking about life here. We are in the world. We are not of the world, but we are in the world. So, biblical issues have to be very clear to us that the promises of God for heaven is number one. But God expects us to also live well in this world.
Thank you.
Insurance is key.
Okay, thank you very much. We have a few questions that have just come in. And by the way, if you're sending your question, you're here, please quickly submit them. And how many of you have been blessed so far by this? Let's appreciate it. D, you are not clapping, you're just faking it. Are you blessed? So the first question that came in, where is the place of faith and saving? My husband is a person of great faith and can clear out our savings to God. Can you please advise me? I believe I know where this question is coming from. First of all, this handwriting I think is very familiar. I believe I have a... Did my wife write a question? Because this looks like my wife's writing. Yeah, oh, I didn't finish it. She's telling me I didn't finish it. No, because I know where the question is coming from. It's actually targeted to me. So anyway, where is the place of faith and saving? My husband is a person of great faith and can clear our savings to God. Can you please advise me advise me and us the best ways to save and plan for our future?
that I will answer that question. It's very important to have faith, and we can achieve a whole lot when we walk in faith. However, a lot of our spending has to be a family decision. We have to be able to set out a budget. So yes, we want to determine that we want to do everything that's available in the world to do. But we are working within a budget. We're working within a specific amount of money that is coming in. That means that we have to set a budget. We have to determine how much we're going to be spending on different aspects of our life and living. So we're not going to save everything and then put it away somewhere. And even though Pastor Andrew feels that that was targeted at him, I'm addressing everybody. As a family, we have to sit down and work together, determine what we're spending, write out a budget. Remember, we talked about Habakkuk talking about writing down that vision. It also means we have to write down our budget and determine how we're going to apportion different amounts of what we get, our resources, for different aspects. It's a never-ending argument.
Now, I think there's one angle that maybe my wife didn't get in that question. I think she's talking about giving in the house of God.
Yes. And the Bible says, Luke 6:38, give and it shall come back to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together and run over. Shall men add to your bosom? Amen. As long as you give. Amen. The more you give, the more you get. Amen. The less you give, the less you get.
You must give in the house of the Lord. But even that giving is in the Bible.
Yes.
Everything we own is His. Of His own do we give Him. He is not in need. He has blessed us. But there is a minimum that He expects us to give. And the more you give, well, the more you expect to receive. But it's not necessarily so, because you cannot bribe God. But God says that you should give so that His house, those who serve Him, will be well taken care of. Now, but there's something we have discovered, and this is something we always knew. All the talk about planning and your personal life is a question of discipline. So when you write out a vision or a plan, the ability to stick to that plan is what makes for success or failure. And it is empirically proved that those who give their tithes and other offerings religiously, diligently, are able better to follow their plans than those who don't.
Talk to me.
So that's the secret. That's the secret. Now, as my wife said, we always say that two must agree. And here they even talk about household. So it's not just two. At a stage, you have to think of the children and other people. But you benefit a lot by following the dictates of the Bible.
Thank you very much. Let's appreciate him for that. I want to quickly move to other questions. What methods can you give on saving well? How can you give and maintain your savings? Okay. You know what? Please, let me ask. There's another question. Please, whoever asks that question, we may come back to it. Do you help people in debt? What can you advise a student who carries debt now? I don't know if you guys talked about that, but I don't know. Is that a plan for people to come out of debt? And if so, do you advise like that?
Yes, we do work with people who have debt. That comes under debt management. Because sometimes people are in debt not because they're not making enough money. As a matter of fact, in the course of our work, everybody knows that doctors make a lot of money. But then we have come across doctors who are in a lot of debt. And that's not just because of student loan.
Not because of student loan?
Yes. There are many reasons why people go into debt, and one of them is what Sam just talked about, not being disciplined. So we do work with people who are in debt. We work with them we give them advice about how to get out of debt and then start to build wealth, because that's what ultimately it's all about.
Let me move to the next question. Thank you very much. Please, some of these questions, if I don't raise it, if it's okay for you to see them personally after, like the person that says, what measures can you give on saving well, and how can you grow and maintain your savings? I feel that is planning. And by the way, I really appreciate the fact that you are sticking to this planning, because everybody is separate in our own dealings. Somebody asked a question here. I want to start, I don't know what they want to start, but I'm reading exactly what he said. I want to start, but I don't know how. How do you start investing or a business? How do you start when you are living from hand to mouth?
I'll start by saying that if you are earning an income or you have some access to resources, it means that you are in a position to save something. You earn your money at maybe every 2 weeks or every month or whatever, but you do get your paycheck. And one of the things that we say to people is plan to save and then spend the rest. From our own Christian point of view, what we talk about is give your tithe to God. That's the first charge on whatever you earn. Now that means you've got 9/10 left. Out of that 9/10 that's left, you've got to be ready to put some away to save. That's preparing for your future. That's preparing for emergencies. And then out of whatever is left, you can think of spending. Most people, on the other hand, they're thinking of their paycheck, and then they've already spent that money before it even comes in. And we all have to work towards getting out of that mindset. Because it's actually on some of our investors group brochures, it talks about planning to save and then spend the rest. That's how to get out of debt. If you think of it as something that is a necessary part of your budget, you know you're not going to touch it, you're going to put it aside. It's only going to keep growing. Because when you save it, of course, we're not talking about just saving and keeping in the bank. Because that's not going to catch up with inflation. Inflation is higher than your bank interest rate. That means you're in the negative. I hope that helps.
Yeah, thank you very much. This question is coming from somebody, and maybe Daddy can help us here, who I believe wants to start the same thing that you guys are doing. He said, as an expert in your area of specialization, what is your greatest weakness and how did you overcome it? That means maybe what are some of the challenges you face in trying to build your business, and how did you overcome it?
Well, yes, I'm sure many of us here know about the structure of the industry. We had the advantage of having resources. And our drive was not basically to earn an income. It was to keep busy, to ensure that at least we don't age too fast. So that's why sometimes people look at my wife and they think she's in her 30s. But
yeah, let's appreciate that. Let's appreciate that.
Are you suggesting that I'm old?
But it's the first thing is to train yourself. Certification is the key word here. So you have to go to school or take the courses. The second thing is to have that push for success. Now again, like we said, the push is not enough. sometimes faith and how you go about it is part of it. It's extremely difficult in the segment that we are, because we are actually privately employed. We run businesses of our own, or a business of our own, but we work with investors group. Again, I think that's a key thing. You've got to determine where you want to be. And I dare say that investors group is the pioneer financial planning business in Canada, the first to float a mutual fund, and it's headquartered here, 91 years old continuously, and if you think about the history from the US, it's over 100 years old. So you look for where you want to work, meet their requirements. And here we have an advice we continue to give immigrants. When you come here, the first thing is to survive, isn't it? So invariably, everybody has to do one thing or the other. But please, don't forget your dreams.
That's it.
Don't forget your dreams. So no matter how difficult it looks, what you just need to do is focus on your dreams, your vision. And like she has demonstrated, it doesn't have to be because I was a banker where I'm coming from and I was a top class executive, flying business class, first class, I must do that here. No. You look at where you are. They say when you come to a strange land, when the cock comes to a strange land, it stands with one leg. Then you look at what is happening, and then you determine what you need to put your second foot down, and you start working at it. So we will be able to talk personally with anybody who has further questions.
Yeah, thank you. Because we only have about 5 minutes, I'm just going to take 2 questions quickly. Thank you very much. Have you been blessed so far? Okay. So many of you, some of these your questions, I'm going to be keeping them. There is one question about buying a house without money and everything. Don't worry with that question. We're going to be handling that later. For someone that doesn't know anything about budgeting, life insurance, retirement plannings, and so on, where do you advise that they start from?
That's a very easy question. Start by giving us a call.
That's good. Thank you. Thank you. That answers the question. So I'll take my last question. Because of my time, and I'll give you the opportunity to do a closing. Have you been blessed so far? Yeah. 2 questions say, what percentage of the paycheck should be put away at every point of the month, especially as a single lady? This obviously from a lady. In order to be able to maintain this even after getting married, regardless of the pay amount earned monthly. That's the first question. The second question, in regards to saving an account with a spouse in any part of the world, North America, Africa, aside the money saved together, is it advisable to have money saved privately apart from? No, joint account. No. This second question is my question. No. Don't save any money apart from each other. Save it with the knowledge of each other. No, we need to get it clear. This is, if you're going to save, agree first. Agree with your spouse that you're going to save money separately. Don't have anything hidden. You are one. There should not be any secret between you. If the husband says save your own, I save my own, that's different. But don't do your own secretly. Because once your spouse discovers secretly, you no longer have his or her trust. Because nobody can trust you. Marriage is all about trust. Once you break that trust, forget it. Marriage is over. Anyway, so I'll leave the first question to you within 1 minute, please. What percentage of your paycheck should a lady put away? This, obviously, by lady.
Clearly, at different stages of your life, you have to rejig. The percentage you will save when you are a spinster will definitely be different from when you're married. That's why 2 things about what we do. It's very different from going to a bank or, Our business is a relationship-based one. So, a coach improves along with his athlete. So when we are working with you, we provide you all the financial services and advice that you need, and you can get anywhere, but in a coordinated manner, because we know everything about you. It's an eagle's eye view. So if you want to ask investments, savings, mortgage, insurance, everything we do, or our organization does, we work with a huge team, some of the best experts at Canada and globally. The organization is global. So the beauty about it is that we are on the walk with you. It's like, when you talk about our relationship with the Father, you are so confident that he's there. When I say we and the institution. So even if Stella retires and you're working with investors group, there's somebody who takes it on. The second thing, and this is very key, is that, and I want to address that if you don't mind, Pastor.
Please go ahead.
What is the basis of marriage? You cannot keep secrets from each other. If you see, the 35 years we are talking about has been working together. When she had her dental clinic, I was the chairman. And she was a board member of my securities own branch of the family. There's nothing that we have and we have done that we don't know about each other. That's number one. Number two, whether you hide it or not, the system here recognizes households. So you cannot even hide it for too long. It only takes an institution that is responsible for that. And God forbid, for instance, that leads to a sharp disagreement and people are thinking of separating. Everything will be put on the table.
Including what you
think you have hidden. So that's another thing we hope to help the community with, because one of the advantages you have here that we don't have there is the ability of people determining to work together, knowing each person's objectives and interests and working together in a healthy manner with clear understanding. Because strength in numbers is not a joke. A threefold cord cannot be broken. So even when you are married and you have God with you, which is the threefold cord, remember that in this system, the system supports you best when you don't have secrets amongst yourself.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I just also want to add, because there are a lot of young people here, that's why I'm saying this. Like Sam said, marriage is based on trust. But I also add friendship to that. If your spouse is your friend, would you be hiding things from them? You work together for your joint interest. So my advice to every one of us, let's when you're choosing a spouse, even when you're already in a marriage, let that friendship and trust be the foundation of your relationship.
I'm going to be allowing, thank you very much. I'm going to be allowing them to give, at least each one of them to give a closing remark. By the way, we want to say thank you very, very much. NextGen, have you been blessed so far? Amen. Have you been blessed so far? Amen. 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 I met them personally to Pastor Mustafa, and he thought it's going to be the second service because he planned to come for the second service, and I said no. The first entrepreneurship session we did, please sit down. The first one we did during the second service. So the first service people didn't get to have a taste of this. And I told you, except for the Blue Bombers, that Blue Bombers will be 12:30 next week. no one is disclosed to you. But I just felt that we needed to bring this to the morning service so as to let you know that if you've not been attending the second service, you're missing a lot. I'm going to be allowing them to give us a closing remark. And by the way, they're going to be remaining around just if you have questions. I told them to come with some cards and things and their business cards. Let me say this as they think of their closing remark. My desire as a pastor is not specifically to prepare you for heaven alone. And please, before you try to send me something and send me, please let the camera look at me. Before you write me or send me, I'm not preaching heaven or anything. Yes, I'm not preaching heaven because I'm heaven myself. Because I'm seated with Christ in the heavenly places. So why do I need to preach it? I live heaven. Is that okay? Cool. We have that? Cool. My desire as a pastor is not to try to get us all that we are thinking about is heavenly minded and earthly irrelevant. Because a lot of born again people, we're not doing anything. I told you that I'm taking a course. How successful people think. How rich people think. And I just took one this last week. My third class. I have 2 more classes to go. It's so shocking how wealthy people think and how poor people think. And I decided to start thinking like wealthy people. And that's what we want to get you into. The Bible said in the book of Luke chapter 16, I believe verse 8, it says that the children of this world are wiser than the children of the kingdom. Friends, it is time for us to have dominion. Dominion is not just speaking in tongues. Dominion is your pocket speaking. When your pocket speaking, you carry some measure of respect. You understand me? No, you want me to take it deeper. When your pocket speaks, you are respected differently. If you don't understand it, go to Africa. Don't have anything in your pocket and see the respect you get. But even in this part of the world, I told you that in Canada, there are some people that they don't go to the bank to withdraw money. We have bankers here. They stay at home. They just call. They withdraw and deposit from their home. You know why? Money talks. All these challenges you are having with RBC and TD and CIBC is because of the level of money you have. Once your zero changes in front, RBC will be the one following you. This one that you say RBC is not a good bank, TD is not a good bank. It's not that they are not good banks. It's the fact that you don't have money. Once you have the money, every bank you will have to be choosing which one. So please, it's the love of money that is bad, but money is no. Some of you are not saying it because you have that in your heavenly face. Money is. I'm going to allow you to say your closing thought, and we'll take tithe and offering. Talking about money, prepare your tithes, prepare your offering. If you're watching us online, prepare it. You say you don't have cash share, no problem. We've got you covered. You can give through our mobile app, or you can go back. We have 2 points of sale terminal, or you can write a check, or you can give through the website. Even if your card is not from Canada, anywhere in this world, even if it's from heaven, our card, our machine has a way to convert it, bring it down to Canadian currency, because we have that power in us in Jesus' name. Please, let's allow you to do a closing remark. Let's celebrate them one more time. Let's celebrate them.
I want to say a very big thank you to Pastor Andrew for inviting us to come and share in this service. It's been a very nice service. And what we had started off by talking about, one of the questions you asked was, why did we go into this? We are all very smart people who have immigrated here, Nigerians, as I have come across. And we have so much of potential. We have the ability we're making a lot of money wherever we're working. And one of the things that we have seen from interacting with our people is that we're not making the most of the opportunities that we have. We're earning so much of money, but we're not investing it properly. So we're not making enough plans for our future. And that's what is the mission that we have. We want to be able to empower our people, to take them to that other level, Because when we are enriched, when we are empowered, we can bless people around us. We can make that difference. Then we see all these other Nigerians are coming in. People complain a lot that people from other communities help one another, that we don't do that. That's because we're not earning enough. You're not making enough for yourself. How can you help somebody else? So that's our mission. We want to help our people to be in that position to make a difference, not only in the lives of other Nigerians, but also to make a difference in this Winnipeg, in Manitoba, and throughout Canada. Let them know that a people have been brought here, that God has moved some people here to make that change. And we want to start with ourselves.
Thank you very much. Let's appreciate her, please, sir.
I want to also thank Pastor Bauer. I know what it is for a pastor to give up this podium when you're trying to minister to your congregation. But I thank you from a second point of view. As my wife has just said, one of the things that was obvious when we came was that there were a lot of hardworking people like him who are helping to meet the spiritual needs. There was also the need for the conceptual revisioning, because spiritual need is number one, but knowing how to live in the world, particularly in the new world that we are, must complement that. Even the body of Christ grows when individuals grow. So this partnership is God ordained, and we have taken it upon ourselves as much as possible to work with pastors to at least help our people. And when we say our people, immigrants, Canadians, all. Because at the end of the day, we are one community.
Yes, sir.
Now, the immigrants, current new immigrants, are particularly disadvantaged because they are coming from a different setting. So there's a need to make them understand that this setting is different. So for instance, the issue of insurance. In Nigeria, if you pass on, your larger family will come around you, but a few days later, it's the wife and the children. So you have brilliant people who, because they lose their parents, they can't express themselves, they can't go to the university. But here, no matter where your parents are at, no matter where they are, if they have the knowledge, in addition to the number one issue, keying in, ensuring heaven, when God calls the children and the people you leave behind, God will provide. And God has provided through the person he has called, because that person has done things diligently. Let's end up with the word discipline. Discipline is the first thing that God expects of us. Obedience. There's nothing you hear about in terms of financial management and so on that is not in the Bible. But like the pastor said, each of us has blind spots. This world is too busy. So you are very good at your own profession. You are running around doing things. Work with an advisor. Work with people who know. Work with institutions that can help you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.